Welcome to episode 8.
Yep.
Soar and pair, why not together?
Welcome and happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there of any kind.
Even the Mr. Moms.
Mr. Moms, moms of fur babies, and children.
Mother
of
Earth.
Course.
Mother Earth.
Earth, yes.
And one of our favorite, Mother Mary.
Mother Mary, yes.
But we're really excited to have this do this episode today that we're going to be talking about keeping things fresh. We'll get into that a little later. But one thing that we accomplished this week, I think we're both excited about, is we really wanted to come up with a vision of what this whole journey is about with our YouTube and podcast.
Yes, our vision statement and
Right.
our mission statement.
Exactly. So we're going to share our vision statement with you today, and it's something that I think we'll do at the beginning of every episode. You know, what is the purpose of Soar and Pair? Why did this whole thing get started a couple months ago? And our vision statement is this: Soar and Pair, soaring together to explore new adventures while inspiring others to create their own.
Yes.
Has a nice ring to it, doesn't it?
I love it. I do.
So
it just kind of succinctly
very good.
says it all.
Succinctly. That's a tough word to say, but
it is.
you did it in a succinct way.
Thank you.
So successfully succinctful.
Ooh,
That's a lot of alliteration. But we are excited. We're excited again as we explore new adventures to inspire you to do the same.
Yes,
and really that's really what this is all about.
That's exactly what this is about, is taking you on the journey with us and inspiring you to do your own, right?
Right, because that's really what we're kind of starting on, and it's exciting. It's a little nerve-wracking, but you know, why do anything exciting if there's not nerves involved?
Exactly.
You know.
Yeah.
So nothing boring happening here
No.
in this house lately, anyway,
No,
right?
there isn't.
Nobody could accuse us of
Constant
boredom. But let's talk a little bit about this last week.
Okay.
So, you know, obviously we had Shay and Andrew and
Yes.
Everly over. That was wonderful.
Yes, and Andrew, two Andrews we have, but my son Andrew, he made orange rolls this morning, and
Yeah, we woke up to the smell of...
really sweet. Yeah, it just really meant a lot to me to have my kids together. I'm missing Zach, but and Chelsea and Paisley, of course.
Right.
But you know, to get the ones that are close in proximity together, it was nice to get everybody together today and have a day of just relaxing, and we barbecued and played games.
We kept you out of the kitchen, because usually when we do a
Yes.
holiday, it's like, okay, let's celebrate Sandy's birthday, let's celebrate Mother's Day. She's in the kitchen slaving away, and all of us are sitting around going, oh, isn't this wonderful? We're celebrating Sandy, and you're in there breaking a sweat. So I was determined to make, the only thing you did was cut a few tomatoes, right?
I did.
And
That was it.
onions.
And then I got kicked out.
Yes.
So
Yes.
thank you for that.
No problem. I mean, it's part of the, you know, I think mothers are so important in our lives because they're just always there. They're like the constant underlying glue.
And we enjoy, honestly. I
Right.
know, you know, speaking for myself, I enjoy those things. That's kind of how a lot of moms show their love, is by cooking and bringing everybody together. But it's sure nice not to have to.
So we showed our love by kicking you out of the kitchen and
Yes.
saying, relax and enjoy your children and grandchildren. And of course we played a few games.
Yes.
It was nice. And so it was a nice day. So we hope all of you had a wonderful Mother's Day, whatever you did. You know, restaurants were not open, and actually, again, that forces us, but that allows us to spend time together and do things together.
To think differently,
Right.
instead of just going out, you know. I think it encourages us to think differently and bring it closer to home, which I think is beautiful.
And be a little more creative with what we do, celebrating different events, since
Right.
you know things are different right now. But what else in the week do we want to update our listeners to? So what did we do in the backyard? I mean, if you've been following our Soar and Pair Facebook page,
Yes.
you've seen pictures, but What is something new that we tried this last week?
Yeah, we planted wildflowers, and every day I go out and talk to them, and we've got little shoots coming up now, varying sizes. You can see that they're all
So
different.
little shoots with their little ladders too, like the game?
Yes.
So shoots and
Little
ladders.
leprechauns jumping
Well,
between rainbows.
Again, I
Yes.
go to the little, Disney storybook land that we're
Yeah,
creating
I
in that
know
little
you do.
patch of. No, but it's exciting to see those
It
those
is, because
sprouts.
we're not really sure what colors are going to pop up where, and so, I probably was a little heavy-handed. So, we'll see what comes up and what colors where, so it's just fun to watch the progress of it.
Well, and colorful weeds are colorful weeds, right? Those
Exactly.
wildflowers are. So
Exactly.
it's really fun, and this is something new that we're doing together for the first time. We'll talk a little bit more about that in our theme, but I just think it's great that we're, all joking aside, that we're creating this little oasis.
Yeah.
That's our own.
Me too. Me too.
So that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and to attract the butterflies and the hummingbirds is something I love, especially right outside the kitchen window. We have a lot of hummingbirds here, so along the back perimeter of the yard, but not as close to the house. And if we can bring them in a little closer, it's even better.
Absolutely. Also, I've been most every night opening the window and continuing to play.
Yeah.
Even after my concert last week, which is a lot of fun. I'm usually starting out with that new piece I wrote, Friendship Call, just to sort of make the call to the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Hey friends, and playing various pieces. And I think you caught me in the middle of playing one and posted it on our Facebook.
Yeah, I've posted a few. Yeah. And we're still getting neighbors walking by yelling out, saying hi, which is pretty great.
Yeah, it is, and I think keeping that whole community feel going, that
Yes.
whole sort of kinship that I think a lot of us are feeling during this whole thing. I know that each neighborhood and community kind of has its own tradition, and I just like the fact that, the piano sounds are showering the neighborhood.
Yeah,
So,
they're carrying and reverberating out. Yeah,
So.
absolutely. And, I think, too, it kind of keeps that going because people tend to get tired. Things are, as this has drug on and, it seems like we've been at home forever. I think that's a great way to bring people together and kind of rejuvenate themselves.
Hang on a second. Feels like you've been home forever.
No, I said a lot of people feel that
Oh,
way,
I
not
thought
me.
You were looking at
I've
me.
been home for 3 years.
She was looking at me like, it seems like we've been home forever. Like, when are you going out?
I need to miss you. No, not at all. I'm enjoying having him here. I really am.
Actually, I did go out for the first time and tune pianos on Saturday again, and got to see our daughter Chelsea, who has a house in Coolidge, and visit there. But it was actually nice to kind of get out on the road and do some tuning again, because it's been a couple months since I have piano tuning, and I love doing that. I've done it for 35 years. I really enjoy it. I'm really good at it.
Yeah.
And and it's good money. So it's something that feeds my soul among everything else. So it's nice that more services are opening up, and that we're able to, although my hair keeps getting longer. It's been a while since I've had my hair cut.
I can cut your hair,
No, that's fine. I will. I promise I won't do a man bun, but it could, start, I don't know, getting the 70s
You
look.
sound like you don't trust me.
I'm just a little nervous, especially after you do that laugh. So we'll let the professionals have. Although you've actually done that before, maybe not for me, but have you done? You haven't cut my hair.
No, not yours.
Okay.
I have cut hair, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, see, maybe that's something new we can try, but not this week. So, also just an update on our dog Coco. She continues to do really, really well. We want to thank everybody for their well wishes on our Coco.
She's doing so much better. She was a little freaked out when you went to tune pianos the other day. I don't know if I told you that. Mm-hmm. She was walking around looking for you, and she looked at me like, "What'd you do with them?" She's just used to having both of us here, and she's one of those dogs that she has to keep both of us in her sights.
Right.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
I think it threw her off a little bit, but she's doing much better.
Well, and dogs are creatures of habit, right? They're creatures of routine.
Very much.
Which leads us to our theme this week in episode 8, keeping things fresh.
Yeah.
How do we break through the routines that all of us get into? And I will start with myself. I am like the king of routines. You know,
Yes, you are.
and it does help in something like piano playing, because if you have a routine of practicing and focusing, you know, day after
I
day,
can see that's required.
yeah,
Absolutely.
that absolutely helps with the skill. But what happens is when you take that very routine oriented and you apply it to everything else, it leaves very little room for anything new to come in. So, you know, I myself have worked in the state for over 30 years, Monday through Friday, pretty much.
Sounds like a long time.
Well, it is a long time, but but I've always had my piano tuning business on the side, so over 30 years. I've usually always done music or volunteered on Sunday for some kind of a church of one type or another. And so I have this very routine that I'm used to. You know, Monday through Friday, the state jobs, Saturday, the tunings, evenings, sometimes tunings, and then Sunday. And then all of a sudden it's time for a lot of chores and everything else. Where is there time to do anything new, to do something fresh?
Not much time left, is there?
Right.
And then you're exhausted.
Right.
From all the have-tos.
Right. So I think I think it's an interesting thing, going back to our theme. If we're going to break out of our routines and do something new, and yet we're stuck in these ruts, how does one do that? How does that relate to you?
How does that relate to me?
Yes, the routine of life.
Yeah, I think we all tend to get stuck, like you said. You know, plan to be spontaneous, right?
Yes.
Yeah, with me, it's a little bit different because my schedule's always been a little more fly by the seat of your pants.
Right.
You know, with nursing, but same goes.
Right.
Same goes. Exactly. You know, I think you meaning me, get stuck into a routine also of, you know, go to work, after work, go downstairs, make dinner, plop your butt on the couch, and then, you know, you got to start over the next morning. So.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think when, you know, and I would say even before 8 weeks ago, I think both of us were sort of, how do we break out of that? You know, how do we get past that? Because we had some desires and goals to do things. And I think one of the first things you did was you decided, I'm going to go to school.
Right.
You know, that was a break from my routine.
School, so, yeah.
But truly, that was a break from the routine of your nursing job. And you love your nursing job, and it's not even a matter of getting that out of the way, but it's doing...
Adding to.
Yes.
Yeah, to enhance, to make this better.
And I think that's why people have a lifelong love of learning, because you're, you know, always looking to a new horizon.
Yeah.
You know, that's why hobbies are popular.
You have to be careful with that too, though, because that can become the next thing that you get into a rut with.
Being a lifelong student.
Yes. Yes. I think you see that a lot. The teachers see that a lot. You know, you can get stuck in that, even though it's a great thing. It's just about keeping it fresh, changing it up, implementing it and doing something with it, keeping it new.
Right. And so, you know, going back to, you know, the dogs, not that we're going to the dogs, but going back to the example of our 14-year-old puppy, who doesn't like things to change. You know, that's why, you know, it's a Pavlov's dog is the whole idea, that you ring a bell and the dog is salivating because it's used to the food being there.
Right.
And so I think what's really, really important for us is how we as a couple have continued to keep things fresh, but that how we're also trying to keep things fresh in and of ourselves, so that I think what happens, life becomes very stale and very repetitious, and you begin to wonder, why am I doing this? Of course, we all have to make a living, we all have to pay bills,
Yeah.
But I think there's a difference between making a living and paying bills and, you know,
following your passion.
right, following your passion, or making a living and following your passion. You know, I've done that for many, many years with my music.
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly.
you know,
Yeah.
so I mean, I think keeping it fresh is so important, and which brings me to, and those on the podcast can't see this, but why don't you describe, so that those on the podcast, you know, they're seeing this, what we're holding in our hands.
Well, they're
here.
paperweights. We went to the melting pot in Sedona.
Mm-hmm.
This was actually for Jim's birthday last year. I surprised him with it. And we went to the melting pot and we got to choose what we were going to make. And we made paperweights that are like eggs. Well, yours is a ball, mine's more like an egg. But we got to pick our colors and, you know, put it into the kiln and twist it, and just, it was so much fun. I want to do it again.
Yes, I mean, the glass blowing, you know, it was just
Glass blowing.
yeah, the glass blowing that we did, it was you, me, and the instructor. What I love about, and the reason I'm showing and bringing this up, is what I love about how you surprised me on the birthday is this is something we've never done before.
Right.
So I think as a couple, and I was even a little, we'll see, you know, and got there, and it was
like, hey, I'm going to surprise you with something I want to do.
yeah, wait a second.
Yeah, I know.
Here I'm giving this great example, and I'm like,
wait a minute.
your interest became my birthday present. Hold on a minute. No, but I what my purpose of talking about this and bringing these glass balls on our show was to show.
Quite a pair.
Yeah, thank you. What was to show the fact that trying something new together as a couple, I think, is so important. It doesn't always have to be something formal like glass blowing, right?
Right.
I mean, it can be little things.
It could be a picnic in the park.
Which we actually did spontaneously, grabbing a couple Chinese dishes to go.
Yeah, we landed in the park last week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
It's fun.
it is, and I think finding time to do these things that is something new is so important for, I think, everybody's mental well-being.
Absolutely.
And, you know, for us as
Change
a
it
couple,
up.
to change it up.
Mental, emotional. It helps you, I think, when you step outside your comfortable zone or your box,
Mm-hmm.
and intentionally change things up, it just resets everything. It resets your point of view, it resets your drive and your excitement.
It does, and I think over the 9 years that we've been together, some of the highlights have been new things that we've tried together.
Yes.
Like I'm thinking ziplining. You remember that?
Yes, I do.
That was a lot of fun
Yes.
and a little scary.
Yes, it was scary. It was scary too when we got home and the doctor freaked out.
Oh yes.
I ended up in the hospital 2 days later for a totally different reason, but yeah.
But we had fun.
It was fun, and I'm glad I didn't know.
Right.
Because I wouldn't have done it, and I'm glad I did because it was so much fun. I would do it again.
Yeah, and we will do it again. And it's not that you have to do something extreme, but I think it's unique to every person. But I think having the courage to try something new, which is really the undercurrent of this whole soaring pair,
Right.
to be soaring, to explore new adventures. And I really think it doesn't always have to be this African safari level adventure.
Or a trip to Canada.
Or our 12-day, 4,000-mile trip to Canada, which we did.
Mm-hmm.
But that took 8 years to get there.
It did.
It didn't happen overnight for us.
It wasn't an 8-year trip.
No. It was a 2-week trip. That we wanted it to go longer.
We did.
But I really feel like, and I think what we're trying to talk about here is how we can, in even small ways, day by day, even when we're working our jobs, how we can keep it fresh.
Yes.
How we can keep our excitement about new things going.
Yeah, and it's okay. You know, I kind of joke about planning to be spontaneous, but that's okay. I mean, the dog's snoring.
Hopefully you aren't.
Yeah.
Just the dog. But if you're snoring, that's fine.
That's okay.
By the way, it's soar and pair, not
snore
snore and pair.
I was just thinking that too. What was I saying? It's okay to plan to be spontaneous. I joke about it, but at the same time, I think sometimes you have to.
Right.
In order to bust out of your own comfort zones.
Right, and I think another thing that helps with you and me is that we help each other see that in each other, and not in a judgmental way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think, you know, there's a need, obviously, to be consistent and to work and all that, but to, what are you smiling about?
I'm sorry. I'm just hearing, Sandy, those jeans are getting kind of tight. It's time to get up.
I didn't mean busting those kind of comfort zones. But speaking of clothes, we were going to talk about that for a minute.
Yeah,
so
oh.
This is a interesting subject.
Yeah.
What does clothes have to do with comfort zone?
Right. Well, to me, a lot. I'm kind of a material girl where I like clothing, as in material like soft clothing. And I've got a lot of clothes, and I finally realized I was forming some emotional attachments to my clothes, and it was time to bust through my closet and just revamp everything, get rid of a lot of old baggage.
Didn't you tell me that some clothes went out of fashion and back in fashion again and out and in?
I did. I have stuff that's gone in and out of fashion. I mean, 20 years, I kid you not. I've got clothes that are that old. I'm like, you know what? This is kind of stupid. So I'm letting them go.
Right.
Yep. I'm passing stuff on to my daughter, and the rest of it, I'm just letting go. So it's freeing. It feels good, and I'm not done. It was a bigger job than even I anticipated.
No, there's now an obstacle course from my bed to the bathroom.
Exploded.
In the middle of the night, I was a little worried. I
tried to clear you a path.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's going to take me a few days more to get through it, because I'm trying to do it methodically. But in order to clean things up, sometimes you got to make a bigger mess.
That you are doing.
Yes, I am.
But actually, and I think it's a great thing, and the reason I think we bring this up is because in order for anyone to experience something new, you have to create space for it. Mm-hmm. And so whether we're talking about literal space, or we're talking about space of time, mm-hmm. or the opportunity or energy to try new things.
Yeah.
Because I think we get stuck in our ruts. All of us do.
Oh,
and we're going from work to chores to TV to bed and then repeat the whole thing, and then the weekend.
Rinse and repeat. Yeah.
Yeah, weekend is errands and people have asked us this question: how do you guys find the time to do this? Because honestly, before this happened, we thought, how are we going to find the time? Mm-hmm. Because we're still busy at work.
Yeah, work and school and tunings and date night. What is the difference between
pre-podcast YouTube and now? How did we find the time? And I thought of that, but I wanted to ask you, how did we find the time? What was the difference, do you think?
I think we just made it a priority to shift. We shifted things around, and now the way I see it is that we have more time together. Really, through this, we're getting more time together than just zoning out in front of the TV. We're doing more things together.
Right.
And I love it.
Well, and I think when anybody starts a new project, always I remember the first episode was as we described, it was a real big lift. It felt like we were, lifting that, like Atlas was on our shoulders. And it's so interesting. And I really think that speaks to the resistance mm-hmm. that all of us have to try something new,
change.
because I can't tell you how many friends have said, oh, it's something, I wish more people would do this. We're
Yeah.
so glad you're doing this. And we're sitting there going, yeah, so, you know. But I think what's really helped us is once you start, you get past that initial resistance, you ride the wave of that energy.
Yeah.
I mean, haven't you felt like it's sort of almost pulled us along now?
I do. And it's just, you know, it's just something we plan for and we actually look forward to each week. So, yeah, I feel like it's been pretty seamless to just go with it.
Right, and it's just become, we've integrated it into our busy lives. And yes, it does take time to get everything set up and to come up with, you know, what we're going to talk about. That's hopefully entertaining and insightful. But, you know, again, lightening our load, clearing space, whether it's our schedule or your closet.
Yes.
You know?
I can think clearer when things are cleared up.
Right. There's
I
something to
feel-
feng shui, isn't there? There's
Yes.
really something to feng shui.
Yeah,
which is-
energetically, your stuff starts to weigh you down, and you almost have to. It's like cleaning the room. I can never study for school in a cluttered room.
Right.
Same kind of thinking, right? I have to clear the space to clear space in me.
And I think there's something, and speaking of that, I did the same thing with the concert. I had a lot of junk
Yeah,
in the
you did.
corner under the keyboard that I had there forever. And when we were preparing for the 2 neighborhood concerts, and we've been doing more YouTube videos and channels, we're like, let's move out of that. Let's take that out of there. You're not doing anything with it. And we cleared the space where it's just, there isn't piles of music or things that I'm not using or equipment. I've moved that out,
Right.
gotten rid of it or repurposed it. And my point is I feel like it's actually helped me become more creative and more open.
It's like opening the window.
Yes.
Same kind of thing, right? Opening the window, allowing that energy to flow through.
Right, opening the grand piano. And I think, you know, so whether we're talking about a piano or a closet, or if it's something, you know, relating to somebody else that you've always wanted to do, but for whatever reason, I think we're all really good procrastinators. We are natural born procrastinators,
Oh,
right? I mean, I think that everybody can relate to that.
Of
And
course.
so I really feel like, and what I would say to you guys is try it. Try something. It doesn't have to be maybe a podcast YouTube channel like we've done. But why not? Here's that why not. Why not try something that you've never tried before?
Yeah, and even small things add up to big things, or, you know, mix it up.
Like planting wildflowers.
Like planting wildflowers.
You know, just a little, you know, just something new.
You know, I do the same thing when I was going out of the house to work all the time. I used to do this. I play games with myself, just keep myself engaged. And I would take different routes home, even something that simple to mix things up.
Right.
To keep me from going into autopilot.
Right. And how do all of us keep our lives from turning into autopilot?
Right.
And then we 20, 30 years later go, what was this all for?
Right.
You know? Because even if you try something new and it, quote, fails, at least you tried it.
Right. And yeah, I mean, is a failure really a failure? I don't think so.
No, you just produced a result. Maybe it wasn't very good. You know,
May not be the one you wanted.
maybe it ended up as a paperweight when it's supposed to be a beautiful.
A misshapen egg. Yeah. But it's, yeah, I don't really see it as failure. I see it as learning experience.
Right.
You know.
Right. And what I've loved with our relationship is that you're always looking to do something new.
Yeah.
You know, you don't seem to be satisfied with just the same old. You're like, you know what? We need to do something new.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
and so
very much.
I think that has helped me learn, because I would say that my routine level is like a 10,
You've got an adventure spirit, though.
True.
Huge.
But I think, especially in my former life, I was very much stuck in routines.
Yeah.
Very, very much stuck. Just because, part of it is just taking care of the family and paying the bills. But also it was hiding. I think it comes to a point where you're hiding.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're hiding from whatever fears or whatever, and then you start to, I think, just sort of layer upon layer, like, well, I just don't have time. Well, I'm too busy. Well, this, and before you know it, you've buried that desire, and I think a lot of people really would like to know what it would be like if I tried blank. What would it be like if I tried this?
Mm-hmm.
A friend of mine, Bob Faulkner, I'm sure you won't mind, he has Parkinson's. He went and did the something else that we did too. The what is that called? iFly here in Phoenix.
Was fun.
That is
so fun.
Yeah. So instead of jumping out of an airplane at 10,000 feet and skydiving, they literally have this wind tunnel. I mean, it's a powerful wind tunnel. Tunnel. That's a tunnel that's like a tunnel. That's gonna stick. I know it.
Yeah.
But 120 miles is what I was trying to say. 120-mile tunnel where you literally, when you jump out into it, you are. It's
like a flying squirrel.
What? There you go. And you are kind of going with the motion of the wind and everything else like that. And you and I did that. It was a lot of fun. Something else new that we tried a couple years back. But I was so pleased to hear that Bob did that.
That's awesome. I didn't realize he'd done it.
Right. He did it, and he showed me a video of it. And, Bob's just one of my heroes. He's just an incredible guy. And I think he's watching our podcast. So, Bob, salute to you. And speaking of Bob, something else he and I did that I'll put a little plug in musically is that he's a computer guy. And he came to me with some lyrics saying, I'm not musical at all, but I know you write music. This is a song about Parkinson's. Could you look at this and do something with it? And this beautiful song came out, Look Into My Eyes, I'm Still Here. That's actually on my YouTube channel. And
have your tissues ready.
Yeah, it's
a great song.
He and I actually performed it at the Tremble Clefs, which is the name of the nonprofit group that helps Parkinson members and their families sing, which singing activates another part of the brain than talking.
Strengthens the diaphragm too.
And he actually performed it solo, and I played the piano and supported him in the chorus. And that kind of experience with Bob, again, he went out of his comfort zone. He expressed, he's had it for over 10 years, and I touched a lot of people with him doing that.
Wasn't he doing karate too? Sorry to
boxing,
interrupt you.
Boxing. He was doing some
You're
boxing.
You're kind of a rock star, Bob.
So, I mean, here's an example, again, of somebody facing such a debilitating disease with such courage. He just retired. He'd been working with me at the state for a long time. He was the computer guy, or the on-base guy. And I just, when I'm talking about all this, I can't help but think of Bob. Yeah. And how he has, been a great example to me of somebody, not only how he's handling Parkinson's and how, he continues to fight every day, and all those wonderful people I got to know in Tremble Clefs. Yeah. But how he even went out of his own comfort zone to express this and to perform this original song.
To perform it.
Wow.
Yeah, hats off to you.
No kidding.
I don't know that I could do that, so yeah, that's impressive.
So, in wrapping this up, there's a beautiful quote that it's an anonymous quote that we wanted to sort of
yes
to express to you. I'm going to let Sandy read it, but I think it's perfect after talking about Bob.
A friend is someone who knows your song and sings it to you when you have forgotten it. Anonymous.
Isn't that beautiful?
I love that.
And
it's perfect.
And honestly, when we got together, you helped me find my song.
Oh, you do that for me all the time.
And now we're singing duets and dancing around, and we're going to be in Broadway before we know it.
I don't know about that.
Well, of course, metaphorically, but I mean, really, this is just another example of a song that we're doing together.
Yes, it is.
And I want to thank you for helping me find my song. And I mean that in a macro sense, because obviously I write songs, but it's beyond a literal song, but it's finding that spark in me that has ignited, my life in a beautiful way.
I think we do that for each other very much so.
Right. I agree.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So, now the weekly Sandyism.
Yes.
I'm going to make this a little more lighthearted. There's so many to choose from, but I love this one. The first time I heard it, I thought it was awesome. You ready?
Yeah.
Right on, crouton. Right on, crouton. I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but
right.
but why? I guess because it rhymes with crouton. I'm not sure if you have a crouton that you hand to somebody.
I keep croutons in my pocket.
Well, they do keep a while. That would be crummy though.
Oh.
See, yeah.
There's the puns.
Just a few. We decided after the last 2 weeks, because we watched it, and watching me struggle with puns was sort of like,
that's just not Jim.
Watching paint dry. So.
Anybody that knows Jim knows that is not Jim. So
yeah, that was a little crusty. So.
Okay.
You see, I'm putting the pun into the
I do.
to the Sandyism. So that's not bad. No matter how you slice it.
No matter how.
You don't want to be you don't want to be loafing around now.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, I love your Sandyisms. I think they're very descriptive, and whether they're unique or you take a phrase, it's kind of fun. It's kind of living with somebody who loves cartoons and
completely
and expresses that.
Yes, it's kind of the way I see the world.
So we are excited to continue on this journey to explore new ideas.
Yep.
And we appreciate the feedback that we're getting both on our Facebook page, so you can continue. And if you haven't yet, you can find us on Facebook on Soren Pair. You can friend us. You can see some of the posts. We're posting almost every day.
Yep.
You'll see pictures of me pointing at our silly wildflowers, right? Or,
like Jim is growing up out of the garden.
Yes, I'm the little leprechaun.
That's great.
But you can see that, as well as, if you haven't figured out, Sandy likes a lot of goofy things. She loves to post on our song, but it's our personality. It's who we are. We really, part of this whole thing is, and if you haven't figured it out, even when we're talking about serious stuff, we love to laugh.
Yes.
Because I really think that the number one thing that really helps break the seriousness that always creeps up in everything is laughter.
Yes.
And you and I, we can accuse ourselves of, we're really tired in the middle of the night. I say something or you say something, and we are laughing at the top of our lungs.
Yes.
With everything, lights off, it's 12 o'clock at night. We probably should
go to bed.
And we're like two kids in a slumber party laughing. And this happens
frequently.
Very frequently. But I think that's part of, the fun, the adventure that we're having, whether, it's just going to bed at night or just poking gentle fun of whatever it is going on. I think that's...
Take yourself too serious, right?
Absolutely.
If everything's too serious, shake it up.
Shake it up like the Cars, right? Shake it up.
Yes.
So, Soren Pair, you can follow us Facebook, and of course our YouTube channel. You can subscribe to Soren Pair, and we will be uploading a new episode every Sunday evening. Yep. We're getting faster internet, so it'll happen a little sooner.
Week. Yes. I was hoping it would be done by today, but it didn't happen.
But every Sunday evening we'll be downloading the podcast and all the platforms, so please follow us on those platforms, and I'll say them again just so that iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Radio Public, Overcast, the podcast app, and more. So there's a lot of platforms. yeah, etc. And follow us on those, and we are going to be more cognizant of the people following us on the podcast, so be patient with us.
And we're learning in that direction, so please do be patient with us, but we're excited to connect with people who are listening via the podcast.
Yes.
And we will be checking in there as well.
So we appreciate it. We hope you enjoyed episode 8, keeping it fresh, and if including taking a shower, which I should do more often. So I'll definitely keep
kind
it
of crunchy.
The sprinkle a day helps keep odors away.
Have you had
your sprinkle today? Have a great week, everybody. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.